Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for checking out my video today. Last night, Sony had their E3 press conference and showed off some amazing footage for the Big Four: The Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, and Death Stranding, along with a few other surprises. Sony didn't make any awe-inspiring reveals, but instead focused on the stories and showing everyone an extended look at each game. So keep watching for a breakdown of all the announcements that took place last night. Alright guys, so Sony started off the presentation with The Last of Us Part 2's composer playing his theme he wrote for the game. It's interesting to note as well that the press conference was held in a tent modeled exactly like the one from the trailer. We are then shown some footage of Ellie in her late teens or early 20s at a party of some kind, and then cut to some horrific depictions of what the world has came to since the events in the first game. A short stealth sequence showed in addition to standing and crouching, players can also go prone in this entry in the series. The level of polish that Naughty Dog has been able to achieve with this game is staggering, and it makes the violence and world all that more uncomfortable and frightening. No monsters such as clickers were shown in the gameplay demo, however. It exclusively focused on human opponents, but considering their ruthless nature, I would certainly prefer mutated cordyceps zombies over these guys. This is shaping up to be a watershed moment for video games as a whole, so keep your eye on this game. Next, Sony continued their musical introductions with their debut for Ghost of Tsushima. Ever since Sucker Punch first gave us some details about this game, I was intrigued. I'm glad that they have decided to go in a completely different direction after working on the Infamous series for so long. Plus, I'm a huge Way of the Samurai fan, so this works for me. The demo essentially gave us a depiction of war-torn feudal Japan and the world in which the game will take place. It is definitely an open world game and players are free to explore whatever they can see. Sucker Punch has really captured the look and feel of this era and created a graphics engine that makes for some of the most beautiful landscapes I've ever seen in a game. It's certainly a work of art. Afterwards, we get a bit of swordplay, and it looks like the fighting system will be focused on an intricate system of parries and counterattacks. This game is also taking inspiration from the Tenchu series, and man, that was one of my favorites, for its stealth sections complete with specialized slow-motion stealth kills. Next, we are given a bit of a surprise concerning Max Payne's developer Remedy in the form of a game called Control. From what I can tell in the trailer, it looks like a shooter with a telekinesis mechanic and shifting dimensions, so I'm intrigued to say the least. What immediately popped into my mind when I saw this game was the underrated PS2 game PsyOps: The Mindgate Conspiracy. I thoroughly enjoyed that game, so I look forward to throwing large metal objects at enemies in this game. It seems that there are multiple dimensions tied to its gameplay as well, and again I am reminded of a past game, namely the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver series. This game looks interesting, and with Remedy at the helm, I am sure that we'll get a complex narrative of some kind to go along with the excellent gameplay. I know I keep going back to games that I played when I was a kid, but this next reveal made the show for me. Sony and Capcom revealed Resident Evil 2 Remake. And as I have discussed in previous videos, Resident Evil 2 was a big part of my childhood. It was to survival horror games for me, as what Final Fantasy VII was for me with RPGs. This game took all the features, set pieces, and tension from the first game and multiplied it times 10, including moving the setting from a single mansion to the entirety of Raccoon City. I can remember talking about this game with my friends endlessly and being afraid to even play it by myself. So you can see that this is a very nostalgic reveal for me. The trailer plays out exactly like you would think, with glimpses of the Raccoon City Police Department, the police officer we first encounter after arriving there, and of course Leon, Claire, Sherry, Ada, zombies, and even Tyrant. I can't wait to see what they do with the giant crocodile boss fight and William Birkin. We also learned that the game is going to be played using the over-the-shoulder camera that's present in Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6. The next big game that was showcased during the presentation was Death Stranding, Kojima Productions' new game starring Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen. Although past trailers have been cryptic and abstract, we get a few concrete details about the features of the game and are shown actual gameplay. We learn that players will take control of the main character Sam, who is tasked with delivering items of some kind. There are no other details given about his role in the narrative, and knowing Kojima, we won't know until we actually play the final game. There are also several scenes where Sam is trekking over some breathtaking terrain. The Decima engine designed by Guerrilla Games for Horizon Zero Dawn is certainly put to good use here. We also learned from the dialogue in the trailer that when Sam dies, he is taken to another world. I'm assuming the water-like world from previous trailers, and a massive crater is formed that we have seen in the past trailers also. To end the trailer, we have another encounter with shadow-like monsters and are introduced to two new characters, one whose suit seems to react to the presence of whatever invisible force is tracking her and Sam. From the gameplay footage, we can also gather that stealth will play a role in this game, just as it did in the Metal Gear Solid series. Hopefully we will get a solid release date for this one soon. I would imagine it would be sometime next fall. The last big title shown off was Insomniac's SpiderMan game. Every time I see new footage for this game, I am more and more enticed to go all in with it. In the past, I have been really wary of licensed superhero games for obvious reasons, but Spider-Man seems to be striving to continue the trend started by the Batman Arkham series. In the footage we are shown, we get a whole slew of baddies this game is going to be featuring, including Electro, Rhino, Vulture, and Mr. Negative. The setting for the trailer is also termed The Raft, which is a maximum security prison for supervillains. Electro releases all the villains from their cells and Spider-Man is tasked with cleaning up the mess. This parallels the story in the comics called Breakout, where Spider-Man and other superheroes are thrown into the exact same situation. Also, by featuring these prominent Spider-Man villains, Insomniac is certainly trying to create a Sinister Six vibe with this trailer. Sony ended with more gameplay of Spider-Man, showing off the freedom at players' hands in its open world. In addition to the big announcements above, there were other games shown off throughout the presentation, including new footage for Kingdom Hearts 3, specifically focusing on the Pirates of the Caribbean section of the game, a sequel to Neo, Deracine, which is a PSVR game made by From Software of Dark Souls fame, and a few Destiny and Call of Duty announcements. So this year, Sony chose to focus on the world building and stories associated with their games, and it worked great. I enjoyed this presentation and the extended looks we got from Sony's stable of amazing first-party games. While it wasn't as awe-inspiring as the reveal of Final Fantasy VII Remake or Shenmue 3, all in the same conference, we have a lot to be excited for. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, comment below and let me know what you thought of Sony's presentation, and of course, consider subscribing for my take on upcoming video game releases. Until next time guys.